Zoho CRM helps businesses manage leads, customers, sales pipelines, and customer interactions all in one place. In this tutorial, we'll see how to customize the app to meet your business's specific needs, build automations that handle the heavy lifting, and use predictive tools for future insights. Although I'll be using sample data, the workflow we'll cover applies to any business of any size. Throughout this tutorial, we'll be using Zoho CRM's suite to efficiently manage leads, track deals, oversee activities like tasks, calls, and meetings, automate follow-ups, leverage Zia, Zoho's built-in AI assistant, and integrate with third-party apps. Let's jump right in. Chapter 1. What is Zoho CRM? Before we talk about prices or work our way around the dashboard, let's clarify what Zoho CRM actually does. In short, it streamlines your customer management by allowing you to track every interaction with potential and existing customers in one centralized hub. Rather than juggling scattered emails, sticky notes, spreadsheets, and reminders, Zoho CRM provides a clear view of each customer's progress in your sales process. In other words, it brings order to the chaos. One final note. Zoho CRM is part of the broader Zoho ecosystem, which offers tools for email, accounting, help desks, marketing automation, and more. However, in this video, we'll focus exclusively on the CRM. And to keep things simple, I'll refer to it simply as Zoho from this point forward. All right, let's get started. I'll show you how to sign up for free accounts and walk you through Zoho's different plans. Chapter 2. Sign up and pricing overview. Clicking the link in the description will take you to this form. All you need to create an account is your name, an email address, a password, and your phone number. Also, make sure to fill in your location, agree to the terms of service, and click Get Started. After that, you'll be asked to fill out your company name and the number of employees you have. I'll go with GV Marketing and 30. Then hit Get Started one more time. That will take us to the home screen, the heart of Zoho's dashboard. Before we learn how to navigate the interface, let me switch to another tab really quickly so we can talk about Zoho's different subscription options. Zoho offers 5 pricing tiers, but instead of covering each one, I'll concentrate on the 3 I believe are the best. First, there's the free edition. The free plan supports up to 3 users and includes basic features such as leads, contacts, accounts, and deals. This is great if you're just getting started or running a personal business on a tight budget. Then there is the standard tier. It costs $14 per user per month, but it lets you run email campaigns, build and design custom workflows, conduct in-depth searches, integrate directly with Office 365, and more. Last up is Enterprise. It's pricing, costing $40 per user per month, but it's worth it if you run a large, complex business. Along with the ability to customize your entire work pipeline, there's also Zia. The AI can help forecast sales, predict churn rates, detect anomalies, make product recommendations, alert you when chief competitors change their offers, and much more. Now, generally speaking, the interface and workflows are consistent across all plans. So everything you learn in today's video will apply whether you're using the free version or one of the paid plans. All right, that's enough about that. Let's head back over to the dashboard for the grand tour. Chapter 3. Dashboard Overview. First things first, let's get rid of this onboarding guide. Go ahead and click Skip in the center right of your screen, right here. Don't worry, I'll be showing you how to do everything it covers throughout the video. When I set up my accounts, I left sample data turned on. That's what we see displayed here. The homepage gives you a high-level snapshot of your sales activity, including number of leads, deals in progress, revenue forecasts, tasks and activities, and sales performance metrics down here at the bottom. On the left-hand side, you'll see the main navigation menu. This sidebar is where you'll be spending most of your time. I'll walk you through this menu top to bottom, and we'll discuss each module. Reports. This is where Zoho's reports are stored. You can instruct Zoho to create one-time, weekly, monthly, or yearly reports to analyze data and achieve specific goals. That sounds complicated, I know, but later in the video, I'll show you how easy it is. Next, we have Analytics, a metric display that's slightly different from the home screen. Here, we'll see everything from leads generated to revenue, leads by source, who the top sales rep is, and more. Again, we'll circle back around toward the end of the video to see this page in action. Skipping my requests, let's talk about sales. This folder contains each element of your sales pipeline. I'll be covering each of these in depth, starting with leads. This is the first step in your sales pipeline, where you will gather contact information for potential leads, assign ownership, set due dates, and ideally move them further up the pipeline. Contacts. These are the people who serve as your point of contact at another company. Contacts represent either past, current, or prospective future clients. Accounts. This represents a company or department with which your business is doing business. In short, accounts is where you store data for an organization as a whole, and contacts is where you store a person's contact information within that organization. Deals. This is where you can see all the contracts you are negotiating. We'll take a closer look shortly. Forecasts, an advanced feature where you can use Zia to perform a bulk analysis of your past sales data that help you make informed plans for the future. In short, Zia will estimate how many sales your company will generate in a set time period. Documents. This is Google Docs for Zoho. Here is where your team will share and collaborate on projects and presentations. It's also where you'll store invoices, contact templates, standard operating procedures, and more in one place. Campaigns, a hub to manage all of your business's marketing campaigns. From Google Ads to email campaigns, they all start and stop here. Activities. This is where you will see and manage your day-to-day tasks. Whether it's drafting a report, attending a meeting with your boss, or hopping on a call with a client, you'll see it here. Inventory. This is where everything related to sales happens. Invoices are issued, vendors managed, product lists curated, and much more. Support. A customer support portal that is divided into two categories. Cases are ongoing support ticket requests that your team has to deal with. Solutions, meanwhile, is a database for your customer support team to find solutions for common problems. Lastly, we have integrations. Unsurprisingly, this is where you handle third-party integrations. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground in this chapter, but it's okay if you don't remember what each tool does right now. Just remember, these modules are like separate databases that work together and share information. Before we dive into the leads module, let's take a moment to talk about the customizability Zoho offers. Chapter 4, Customization. The possibilities here are essentially endless, but with Zoho, you can add custom fields, build, edit, and delete modules, create custom layouts, and adjust sales stages. That's all a bit abstract, so let's see what that actually means. I'll hover my cursor over the Leads module, click the three dots when they pop up, and select Fields. That opens this editor, where it lets me drag and drop new information fields into the database. For example, I'm based in the EU, but I work with companies from around the world. Let's say I'm working with a British lead. Well, I use the euro, but they'd be using the pound. To avoid any confusion, I drag the currency box to the bottom of the left column of lead information. I'll leave everything as is. Now, I'll click Done, and there we go. You can also delete a new field by clicking the three dots associated with it, selecting Remove Field, and clicking Delete Permanently. Since I don't want to make any changes, I'll click Cancel in the upper right corner and select Yes, Leave Page. Now, instead of heading back to the dashboard, we'll arrive in the module editor. Conveniently, you can also create custom layouts here. I'll click Create New Layout in the upper right. So that will open up the template we saw in the prior section. The main difference is that we can save this one without changing or scraping the template we started with. That's all we're going to do here today, but you get the point. Everything in Zoho is customizable. Let's head back over to the dashboard. Click the arrow next to Modules in the upper left corner, then click the arrow next to Setup Home. Now, go ahead and open the Leads module, which we're going to cover in more detail right now. Chapter 5, Managing New Prospects with the Leads module. The Leads module is where new potential customers live. Whether they fill out a form, sent an email, or call the office, they'll end up here. Let's see how to create a lead. It's super easy. Simply click Create a Lead in the upper right corner. That will open up this page, where you'll fill out everything and anything related to the new lead, though the only required fields are company and last name. As we saw in the previous chapter, you can customize these fields to your heart's content at any time. Once you're done, all you have to do is click Save in the upper right corner, and the lead has been added to Zoho. Pro tip: unless you're starting a brand new company, you probably already have a list of leads sitting in an Excel spreadsheet or a different CRM. You can easily import both to Zoho. Click the drop-down arrow next to Create Lead and select Import Leads. All you have to do is upload the CSV file or connect your other CRM to Zoho in just a few clicks. For now, I'll click Cancel to head back to the Leads module. With the sample data, we only have 10 leads, but this page can quickly become overwhelming. That's why you need to make the most out of the in-depth filter system. Next to the sidebar, look for Filter Leads By. Scroll down the list. These are all the different ways to organize and sort your leads. Of course, you can also create custom filters to quickly find specific leads, like all leads from Facebook ads or website forms. All you have to do is click the 3 dots in the top left of the page, select New Custom View, and get to building. Now, once you've talked with a lead and they've expressed interest in your services, you'll want to send them further down the CRM pipeline. In short, you'll want to convert them from a lead to a contact. I'll click the first lead to open the detailed view. Now I'll click Convert in the upper right corner. This will automatically create an account for the lead's business and designate them as our point of contact. The only option you'll have here is to create a new deal for this account. To save yourself time, go ahead and check this box. If you're qualifying a lead, they're ready to start talking about specifics. Now, set the deal amount. I'll use $25,000. I'll also set the closing date to a month from today and set the contact role as decision maker. There we go. Now, click Convert. Our lead has started down the pipeline, and it's time to keep up the momentum. Before we see how to make a deal, let's quickly touch on the features of the Contacts and Accounts modules. Chapter 6. Contacts and Accounts. Since I already explained the difference between contacts and accounts in Chapter 3, I'll keep it short here. After conversion, leads become contacts and accounts. A contact is the individual person you're communicating with, and an account represents the company or organization to which the contact belongs. Now, something to keep in mind, depending on the complexity of the deal, one account can have multiple different contacts. Right, now let's quickly take a look at the detailed overview for each client. I'll open the first contact's profile. Scrolling down, you'll see tons of data fields, including notes, connected records, cadences, targeted personalized follow-up messages, attachments, deals, and all activities, calls, meetings, and tasks associated with the client. There's also a spot to store each invoice, products, purchase orders, and more. In short, you have a full timeline of your business's relationship with that person in one spot. While I won't cover the overview for every account, the process is similar. The system maintains a detailed record of your relationship with each business. Alright, so now that we know how to manage leads, contacts, and accounts, let's see how you can leverage Zoho to close the deal. Chapter 7. Your sales pipeline visualized. The Deals module. So, the Deals module is one of Zoho's best features. For starters, it offers a Kanban-style view that lets you drag and drop deals between stages. This visual approach makes it easy to see what's moving forward, what's stuck, and where to focus your attention. More than that, it creates a visual pipeline where deals move from left to right as they progress through it. By default, these stages are qualification, needs analysis, value proposition, identify decision makers, proposal price quote, negotiation review, and closed won or closed lost. Of course, you can click each deal to view details. I'll click on the value proposition deal, and it's very similar to the options under contacts and accounts. Now, head back to the deals module page. While I recommend creating a deal whenever you convert a lead, you can also create deals on this page. Click Create Deal in the upper right, fill out the information, and click Save. While you're closing a deal, you'll have to undertake activities, and that's what we will cover in the next chapter. Chapter 8. Activities. The Activities module keeps your team organized, and as we've covered way back in Chapter 3, this is where you can schedule and manage tasks, calls, and meetings. An activity can be linked to a lead, contact, account, or deal. As an example, let's create one. Hover your cursor over the deal in the value proposition stage. In the bottom right corner of the box, you'll see a little plus icon pop up. Click it and select New Task. A task is an action item that needs to be completed for this project. In this case, I'll name it James Pain Points, since the contact is named James. I'll set the due date to the end of this week, and I'll change the priority to normal. There are additional settings too, like the ability to send yourself a reminder, have the activity repeat, and even a More Fields option for additional customization. For now, I'll go ahead and click Save. There's now a little calendar icon in the corner. Clicking on it lets you view the task directly in a new tab. Pro tip, this is something to keep in mind as you become more comfortable with Zoho. but you can create automations for each stage of the deal pipeline. What do I mean? Well, for example, let's say I know that clients usually have a question after the value proposition. I could set a task to trigger automatically that notifies me one day after sending the proposition to the customer to send them a follow-up email asking if they have any questions or if they'd like to schedule a meeting to talk things through. Don't worry, we'll talk about the basics of automation a bit later, but this is something just to keep in the back of your mind. Now, let's take a few steps back. To communicate with leads and clients, I'll need to sync my email account to Zoho. Let's see how to do that. Chapter 9, Email Integration and Communication Tracking. Let's jump right in. Click the gear icon in the upper right corner right here. Find Channels and click Email. Instead of writing a specific email, I'll select Email and click Get Started. Now, I'll select Gmail. Confirm that the protocol is set to IMAP and click Configure. Now, log in with the account you will be using, following the on-screen instructions. Don't worry, it's quick and easy. A few clicks and you're done. This next step, importing email filters, is optional. For now, it'll be okay to click Skip. With your email connected, you'll be able to send emails directly from CRM, track opens and clicks, and view full email threads inside the lead, contact, accounts, and deals overview windows. In other words, your entire communication history is stored in one place. Pro tip, go back to Compose an app. While you can customize the experience here to fit your brand, voice, and style, something everyone needs to do is click Add New Signature at the bottom here. So even if you have a signature set up and saved in your email app like Gmail, it won't automatically be included in messages you send directly from Zoho. All you have to do is copy and paste your signature into the box, give it a name, sync it to an email address, and there you go. So remember I said at the end of previous chapter how we would cover the basics of automation a bit later? Well, that time is now. Chapter 10, Automations. In Zoho, automations are known as workflows. These trigger automatically when specific conditions are met. And even simple workflows can save hours of manual work each week. For example, here are 3 hypothetical workflows. When a new lead is created, assign it to a sales rep. When a deal reaches proposal sent, send a follow-up email. When a lead is inactive for 7 days, create a task. Now, let's make one for ourselves. Go to Setup, the gear icon in the upper right, and under Automation, select Workflow Rules. There are 2 ways to build workflows, either manually or automatically with Zia. I'll show you how to do both. First, let's do it manually. Click Create Rule. The first thing we have to do is choose which module this rule applies to. I'll go with leads. Next, we have to give this rule a name. You'll want to pick a very descriptive name. When you start dealing with dozens of automations, good organization is key. I'll name it Send a Follow-Up Message 2 days after a product demo. The name should serve as your description, so don't worry about writing one. Click Next. Now, we have to set the trigger, or the criteria the workflow is looking for to activate. First, we need to tell the trigger what type of action it's looking for. In other words, what type of data triggers this workflow. Since mine is based on time, I'll select date/time field from the options. Now we have to be more specific. Since we're going to rely on date time, which date time are we interested in? The time a lead was created, modified? For the workflow I'm trying to build, it'll be last activity time. Remember, calls are activities. In the next field, I want the workflow to execute immediately, once, and 2 days after the date in last activity time field. That's the trigger. Click Next, and we'll move on to the next step, conditionals. Think of it this way. In the first part, we determined when the rule will trigger. Now we're setting the context in which it does. All right, so I want this rule to apply to all leads. Click Done. Easy. It's time to set an action. I want to send a personalized follow-up message. So I'll select Assign Task. While we could set up an automated email, I wanted to have a more personal touch. I'll select the bottom task called Follow-Up and click Associate. Almost done. All that's left is to assign this task to someone. Click plus action and select Assign Owner. So there are 2 ways to configure ownership, individually or categorically. I'll be doing it individually, so I need to check the users matching certain conditions box. I want the follow-up message to be sent to the sales representative managing the lead. So I'll open the first drop-down menu and select Added By. I'll keep Is as is. The last one I'll set to logged in user, the user who initiates the record action. In other words, I want the task assigned to the person who created the initial activity, the product demo. Lastly, in the window, open the drop-down menu under Active and select All. Now, even if the rep is offline when the task is created, it'll be waiting for them when they sign back in. Hit Save and Associate and click Save in the bottom left, and you're done. So that's the old-fashioned way. Pretty tedious, right? Well, now let's have Zia make an automation for us. Click Workflow Creation using Zia. A chat box will pop up, and you'll need to tell Zia what you want the workflow to do. I've talked about how to prompt properly in the past, but here's a crash course. Prompts need to be both clear, precise, and context-rich. In other words, leaving nothing to chance. Tell the AI exactly what you're trying to create and how exactly it fits into the broader Zoho ecosystem. With this in mind, here's my prompt. Create a workflow to remind me to send a customer follow-up email one day after a deal moves past the value proposition stage. All right, I'll hit the Enter key on my keyboard and let's see what Zia can do. There we go. It also looks like Zia provided a step-by-step explanation of its actions. That's one of the reasons I wanted to build an automation manually first. Once you understand the basics, you'll be able to troubleshoot AI-generated workflows more efficiently. Let's take a look at the workflow and see if there are any issues. I'll click on the rule to open it, and let's see what we've got. This rule will be executed when stage is modified to a value which is not equal to value proposition. That's close, but it isn't quite right. The way the workflow is written, it'll send a reminder 24 hours after a deal stage changes to anything other than the value proposition stage. With this in mind, I'll hover over the trigger and click the pencil in the upper right corner. I'll change the workflow to the following. This rule will be executed when stage is modified to a value containing identified decision makers. Since decision makers is the stage immediately after proposition, this means the message will trigger correctly. Now, before I end this chapter, here's a pro tip. This isn't the only way to write this workflow. Something you will learn the more you play around with automations is that there are many different ways to solve the same problem. That's why Zia should be a shortcut, not the end-all be-all. It will save you time, but it will make mistakes, and it's up to you to solve them. Now, speaking of Zia, let's talk a bit more about Zoho's built-in AI and see what else it can do. Chapter 11, Zoho's AI. We've already seen Zia build automations, but there's a lot more it can do. Zia can predict deal outcomes, suggest the best times to contact leads, detect anomalies in sales performance, and answer questions via chat. You can access it from anywhere in the app. Click the Zia icon in the upper right corner, right here. I'll keep it simple. I'll click Message Zia and ask a very simple question. Do we have any deals that are near closing? I'll switch to Insights mode and let's see what it can do. In a few seconds, Zia pointed out a recently closed deal we won and another one that's in the final negotiation stage. I've barely scratched the surface here, but you get the idea. Zia is like a virtual assistant that can help you browse records, build automations, and make your day-to-day life a lot easier. Now, let's talk a bit about Zoho's reporting features. Chapter 12, Reports and Analytics. Before we look at these two modules, I want to clarify what they do and how they differ. Reports provide basic insights. It's fast, simple, and built-in. All it takes is a few clicks to generate a report covering a specific data point. For example, you can generate reports for sales performance, top-performing email templates, and more. Now, analytics, meanwhile, offer advanced multivariate analysis. In other words, it processes more complex data and attempts to draw more sophisticated conclusions, such as predicting next quarter revenue based on historical data. Click on Reports. You'll see tons of reports on a wide variety of topics, including emails, meetings, sales, invoices, quotes, and more. Making more is easy. Click Create Reports, select your primary module, Leads, then click Continue. I'll keep it simple. I'll click the plus icon, select Meetings, and keep it set to Exclusive. This new report shows the 2 leads earned from online courses. All you have to do is give the report a name and click Save. You can also click Run to rerun the report later and get fresh data. Now, over to analytics. Compared to reports, this provides a clear overview of metrics across a much broader time frame. You can play around with the data here by clicking Add Components. You can reframe existing metrics or input new ones. All right, that's all I have to say about reports and analytics. Let's round out the video by seeing how you can install third-party apps. Chapter 13, Integrations with Other Tools. Zoho CRM integrates with over 1,000 business applications, including Slack, Google Workspace, and Zapier. Here's how it works. Click Setup, the gear icon in the upper right. Look for Marketplace. You'll see many popular apps listed, but go ahead and click All. That will take you to the Marketplace, where you'll be able to browse through tons of apps to find the one you're looking for. You can also search by category, price, and much more. While the more sophisticated apps like Google Maps Lead Generator or Shopify tend to cost some money, there are also many free apps that'll make your experience better. In short, the Marketplace allows you to connect your CRM to your entire tech stack. Let me know in the comments which app you're going to integrate with Zoho first. Make sure to create an account today by clicking the link in the description. And remember, you'll also get an exclusive deal if you get the standard or enterprise plan. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.